Hello, hello. Welcome to another vocabulary conversation reading lesson all in one. We're going to jump right into it. As always, let's open our Ingu website, see which article we'll read today and discuss. So let me just open this here and let's have a look. Today's article. What are you guys interested in? This is a touchy subject. Bomb on busy Istanbul street kills 6, injures dozens. Well, let's have a look. It might be a bit sensitive, but I have to talk about the sensitive issues as well. All right. So, as always, we're going to start off with our vocabulary. And like I always mention, I'm going to read through it. You hit pause afterwards. I'd like you to read out loud as well, pronounce the words, say it, so you can get the pronunciation correct. If you're not sure about the definition that they give us here, you can also type it in Google, look further and see if you can find exact meaning, because like I mentioned many times, same word can have different meanings in different contexts. So let's get started. First one, intensive care. Special medical treatment in which a very ill patient is monitored constantly, typically in a dedicated part of a hospital. She was moved to the intensive care unit late last night. Next one, militant, a person who is engaged in war or conflict. The militant group Al Qaeda has been responsible for attacks on civilians in several countries. Autonomy, the freedom to make decisions without being controlled by someone or something else. Botswana gained autonomy from Britain in September 1966. Crackdown on, to introduce serious measures to deal with someone or something. The seaside town said it plans to crack down on binge drinking tourists with a number of new rules. Next one, detain, to keep someone in an official place, usually to question them. Following the invasion of Ukraine, Russian entrepreneur Alex Konanyakin offered a $1 million bounty to detain President Vladimir Putin. Last one, intelligence, the collecting of military or political information, the people whose job is to collect military or political information. The Central Intelligence Agency, better known as CIA, is the Foreign Intelligence Service for the United States, or of the United States. Okay, well, let's see if we can discuss this sensitive topic. First, we have our article. So, as always, I'm going to read through it. So I'd like you to hit pause after each little paragraph and then read it out loud as well. If you're not sure about the pronunciation of a word, just skip back a few seconds and you can go over it again. So let's start. So, bomb on busy Istanbul street kills 6, injures dozens. A bomb has killed 6 people and injured several dozens on Istanbul's Istiklal Avenue, a popular street among both locals and tourists with many restaurants and shops. The attack took place on Sunday, November 13. Video shared online shows pedestrians on the busy street running from a sudden loud bang and a flash. Istanbul Governor Ali Yerlikaya said of the 81 people who were hospitalized by the attack, 57 have been sent home. However, 6 were in intensive care, with 2 of them in critical condition, he said. The 6 people who were killed in the explosion were members of 3 families and included children ages 9 and 15. Authorities said that a government ministry worker and his daughter were among the victims. The attack was a shocking reminder of a series of deadly bombings that took place in Turkey between 2015 and 2017, some by the Islamic State group, others by Kurdish militants who seek increased autonomy or independence. These attacks left more than 500 civilians and security personnel dead. Sure. In response, Turkey began military operations in Syria and northern Iraq against Kurdish militants and also cracked down on Kurdish politicians, journalists, and activists at home. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan called the latest blast a treacherous attack and said those responsible would be punished. Police announced on November 14 that they had detained a woman with suspected links to Kurdish militants for the attack and that she confessed to placing the bomb. She has been named as Syrian citizen Alham al-Bashir. At least 46 others were also detained for questioning. Police said the woman told them that she had been trained as a special intelligence officer by the Kurdish Workers' Party, PKK, as well as the Syrian Kurdish group, the Democratic Union Party. PKK has been fighting the Turkish state since 1984 and is considered a terrorist organization by Turkey, the US, the European Union, and many other countries. However, PKK has denied involvement in the Istiklal attack, claiming in a statement that it would not directly target civilians. Okay, this is a rough topic for today, but let's have a look. So the discussion questions. Again, I'm going to read through these questions. I'd like you to hit pause either before I answer or after I answer, and then you can answer it, either listening to what I said and maybe adding to it or saying what you want and see if we have similar ideas about it. So let's start. Number one, what are your thoughts on the bombing attack in Istanbul? I think it's a terrible thing. I think nobody should have to worry about, when you just where you live, having to go out. You shouldn't worry about being in danger or having loved ones, if you have family and they're going to the mall, like having to sit there and worry like, oh, is something going to happen to them? Yeah, it's terrible in every sense of yeah, it's terrible. Number two, what do you think motivates people to join terrorist groups? Oh, goodness. I think it's one of two things. Either it can be some kind of a religious indoctrination where, you're being told over and over the same things and like, oh, you have to fight against these people, you have to fight against them. And, the people that you're surrounded by, everybody's got the same mindset, like you have to fight these people, fight these people. So I suppose it's something like that. And then also, I think it could be a form of a form of rejection can also help, or not help, can push people towards things like this. If you are, say, for example, you are a good person and you're doing good and you have a good heart and everything is good, and then you go out in public. Say, I'm just going to use this now as you look like a Muslim person, and you go out in public and then you're getting targeted by airport security, and they kind of treating you not just, if security pulls me over and asks me questions, yeah, it's fine. But if they treating you different than the other people, then people start to be like, hey, why are they treating me like this, and why are they treating this person like that? Just because I put some picture, then you and if they have this over and over and over, later they'll start feeling negative, and this negativity would build over, kind of towards resentment, and then it can build over towards hate, and eventually this person that was good will be like, okay, you think I'm bad, I'll show you bad, and then they go completely crazy. So I think it can be something like that as well. Yeah, unfortunately. Number three, what nations or organizations do you think represent the biggest threat to global security? Oh, um, I have no idea. I am not that into politics that I would know. Um, I would somebody who's got nuclear power and is not afraid to use it. Somebody that gets to the point of, if they've got nuclear power and they get pushed into a corner, like, okay, well, if I'm going down, everybody's going down. Those kind of people. probably have pose the biggest threat. Who they are, I don't know. I don't know. Number four, what do you think is the likelihood of a terror attack happening in your country? Well, I've mentioned before, I live in Thailand and I've heard of in this because I live in Phuket, but apparently further down south towards the border of Malaysia and Thailand, they have groups that are not on the same terms and they don't like each other, and there are sometimes terror attacks. So I would say good likelihood, hopefully not close to where I live. But yeah, probably a fairly decent likelihood. Number five, do you expect the number of terrorist attacks around the world to increase or decrease over the next few decades? Whew. Uh, I hope it would decrease. You know, the more people become accepting of others and the more they start interacting with others, because a lot of times you get these different groups and people look at somebody from a different religion or a different country or a different ethnicity, they look at them like the other people. It's like us and the others. And then they start creating all these things in their mind about who, what are these people and what do they do and what do they think? And they just make up things without having, without talking to the person. But I think the more people interact with each other and do business around the world and become more accepting of others, as soon as you start talking to that other group, you'll be like, oh, but they just, they're also human. They're also like us and we can get along so hopefully it will decrease. I hope. Yeah. Hmm. All right. Further discussion. Are any of your friends or family interested in international affairs? One of my previous colleagues, I think he's working for uh, some organization that's quite deep in international affairs. Yeah. So I do have few family and friends that are interested in these kind of things. Me, I'm not so much. As long as you leave me alone and make sure that everybody, if as long as we get along, I'm fine. Number two, are there any international conflicts that you follow closely? Uh, Not closely. I mean, everybody knows about Russia and Ukraine at the moment. Um, but unless there's something big happening, I don't actually know what's going on at the moment there. I've got a few students in Russia, um, and so I sometimes talk to them about these kind of things, but not, yeah, I don't know too many details. Number three, do you think the world has become safer or more dangerous over your lifetime? Mhm. Uh, I don't know. You would think safer, right? But also no. I I think it stayed the same, but people, like I just said earlier, people's perception of what's out there, they start creating things in their own mind without ever actually knowing. So when I was young, I could get on my bicycle I was how old, like 8 years old. I could ride around the neighborhood, no problem, as long as I'm back before sunset, my mom's fine. Now, I mean, parents won't let their kids go anywhere without a mobile device or knowing exactly where and what's going on. And people think like, if my child goes out without a mobile phone, what's going to happen to them? Somebody's going to kidnap, all these crazy things that you think, but maybe the threat's not really there. I don't know. So I think sometimes we create things or we make things worse in our own head than what it actually is. Maybe it's still the same as always. Number four, have you ever felt unsafe in a foreign country? Mm, Nope. No, I've never felt unsafe, except in my own country. Thank you, South Africa. Yeah, I have felt unsafe in my own country, but never in a foreign country, no. Number five, in your opinion, what are the safest countries in the world? I would probably guess some of these Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, something like that, probably. Or maybe is Antarctica, is that a country? Because the few people you have, the less chance there is of somebody doing something bad, people, it's, kind of nature. People do bad things. No, I have to guess probably some kind of Scandinavian country. They always rank high on the quality of life rankings. Yeah. Where was it? There was a place. I read an article somewhere about a country where police they haven't shot anybody in I don't know how many years, and probably some place like that. I don't know. I haven't been there, so I cannot say. But that's what I would think. All right. So we made it through the difficult topic. Let me just stop that here. Um, yeah, sometimes, like I say, sometimes we have to talk about these difficult things. If we just keep quiet, again, like I mentioned earlier, then we start creating like, oh, this person thinks it like this, or this person thinks like that, and then, you know, I might, I might have said something now, and you're like, oh, he's thinking like this, but you don't talk further about it. So if I said something that upset you, type it in the comments, and then I would, you know, we can talk about it further. But yeah, I um. I think we need to talk about things, even if you talk about difficult things, and even if you talk to people who you don't agree with. Otherwise, you would never bridge that gap. But if you talk, maybe there's a chance you can close that gap. All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. So have a good evening, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.